Hello. Kia ora. How are you? I hope this is going to work. I just sort of have my phone just sort of up on a thing, so it's like leaning against stuff today. I don't have my whole setup. It's a bit later than I normally do, but I did want to do a quick broadcast if I could, if anyone was still around. I had a bit of a family thing going on today. My firstborn, who some of you know, Timothy, the lovely Timmy, was with us last night. I was staying here, so I had to bring him back to his house this afternoon. And it had just happened to be when I normally come on, so I'm a bit behind today. But I love having my darling dog here and just the cuddles, and took him to brunch this morning, and he's such a big sweetheart. But I did want to hop on and say hello to everybody, and hope you guys are having a very good week. There's been a few things come up for me this week that I did want to share, just quickly, depending on what happens. Hi, Mom. Mom's here. Hi, Mom. Everyone say hi, Mom. Always guarantee my mother will be here. Thank you. Yeah, so I don't know if you missed that, Mom. Timmy was here last night, so I just brought him back down to the house and came back up. I was like, I need to get on and at least, be here for those of you that are available. Yeah, I love my Timmy cuddles. So he's back down at the house. He's on holiday this week. He gets to have a week off and be up the coast a little bit. So it was nice to have him around. So I've got, I was just saying, there's been a few things that have come up for me this week. And we'll see if the cards sort of can pick up on that and sort of, I know. Oh, I love Timmy, Mom says. He is the best dog ever. Like, he's going to be 13 this year, and he's a legend. He's an absolute legend. Everyone loves the Timothy. The Timothy. So I am going to do some cards and just see what comes up. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now with the way that the environment is changing and the climate is properly changing now. Like, people are starting to understand that, yes, this is actually happening. And I think it's, some of those lessons for those people are a hard one to learn. And when hell starts freezing over, that's when people are going to open their eyes. So, there's been a lot of chaos going on, and, I can't help but almost cheer it on, just to be like, how much more do people need to see, to understand that the way that the planet is shifting and changing, and how we have such a huge hand in that a lot of this comes from the things that we've been doing for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, the way that we've been living. So it's hard to watch, but it's also like, it's about fucking time, people, really. If this doesn't help, Texas. So, just stay strong. And I was saying to someone the other day, like, the people that I do know that live in Texas currently are either from Connecticut or New England and Minnesota. So I'm like, at least these people know how to drive in the snow. So fingers crossed, they're gonna be okay. So we're gonna just do some cards, because I feel like there's a lot that might come through based on what comes out of these. So I've got the Radiant. I've brought the box today. I'll close up the box so it's a bit prettier. So the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot And I'm going to have these on my online shop as well, if anyone here in New Zealand is keen to get a copy. This is what I was talking about, how the illustrations are just much the same illustrations, but a lot more clarified, a lot more clear. And this is the go-to deck. Oop. So I hope everyone is staying warm and staying safe wherever you are, and that you are able to make yourself a nice cup of tea to be able to sit with what is going on. Taking a deep breath every now and then when we start to get a little short of breath and we feel that we're getting that anxiety pull. It is about stepping out of the thought patterns and the overthinking patterns and just letting the thoughts drop away, letting your mind be full of nothing. This is sort of what I've learned through meditation, actually, is that it's not, you can do a meditation and you can practice that, and you can, you can walk down the path into the forest, and listen to all of these things going on. But, what it's about is finding the open space in your mind and letting it clear and letting that space be larger than yourself. For me, that's what meditation is about. And if I can do that at specific points during the day, the anxiety sort of just goes away. I start to get stressed out, and I start to, people will say something, and I start overthinking, and I start self-sabotaging myself, and I start, remembering, years of gaslighting and things like this, and that anxiety pops up, and I'm just like, it is about just, I do this on the toilet. It's just opening that space in your mind and just letting everything clear out. It's like going in and just fanning it and just saying, get out, just get out, and then breathing and then just taking that on. So just a little pointer. So this is where I want you to be right now, is just to open your mind, air it out. It's like opening the windows in your house and letting out all of the dust. Opening the windows in your mind. That way we can let go of what else is sitting there stagnant, and we can let the fresh air come in. We can let the breeze brush things aside. We can let the breeze, I just have this visual of like dust bunnies, sort of congregating in the corners. When we start to open our minds and clearing stuff out, we can actually see things better. We can see the problem areas a lot better. When we open the window, dust moves around in the house, and it sort of will congregate in a corner, and we can actually just take it and grab it and pull it out. So that's where we're at right now. We're letting things open up. We're letting stuff stir. We're letting things get caught in the corners so we can actually see the things in the corners. We can see what we're going to do. Now, the two cards that fell out as I was shuffling. So, clear your mind. Imagine you're not seeing what's in front of you, and you are sensing the things around you. There are some big things about to ignite. Sensing things ahead of schedule is really difficult, because I don't think that we're at a point on the planet that we can go either direction. So it's not about seeing what's ahead. It's almost looking back. I was saying this, I think last week, it's about going backward. And we're at the point where we have exhausted ourselves. This card has come out again. This card just keeps coming out. This is the absolute exhaustion that we have put upon ourselves and, the things around us. The Ten of Swords is a violent end. It is everything we have not hoped for, to be honest. I mean, the card itself is a man. If you're not seeing this visually, the card for the Ten of Swords is a man or a person lying on the ground with 10 swords stuck in their back. Their back and the back of their spine and their hips. And all of the things that we have gone through as a species have really left us, I think, in this situation where we are absolutely fucked. Let's be honest, we are absolutely fucked. It is not a nice card to get, to be, yeah. It isn't, I would say that's worse than the death card, because out of that death comes the rebirth, right? We are flat on the ground right now. We are done. The other card that fell out is the Two of Swords. So lots of things to be going on. Now this is about, for me, this sort of goes back to what I was talking about with, we let things settle, we let things be. So the Two of Swords, she's got 2 swords in front of her, either side, sort of crisscrossed, and she's sitting down and she's blindfolded. And she's got the crescent moon behind her. So there's a lot of emotion with the ocean behind her. Motion. There's motion in the ocean. The emotion that comes with that watery feeling, the tides, we're sort of at a point where we don't know what actions to take. We're prepared to take whatever actions come, but all we can do is just sit and wait. We sit and we understand that things have to change. We sit blindfolded and we just wait for things to move. We use our senses to understand what's going on around us, to say, I can either, it's a very defensive thing. It's not a reactive, it is a reactive thing. It's not a very, it's defensive and reactive. It's not an action that we can take to get to that next level. We're sort of at that crossroads. We don't know which direction to choose. So we are at a point where we have exhausted all of our options and we don't know where to go next. So I'm just going to keep shuffling for a minute and see what else comes up. I feel like that would explain, I think, a lot of what people are feeling right now. The planet is at a point of the word exasperation. Is that the right word? I always, these words come and I'm just like, I don't know if that's the right word. We just feel like a point of exhaustion, and all we can do is just wait. We wait for the next foot to drop. We wait for the next thing, and it's this constant, any forward momentum we're getting right now isn't enough. The forward momentum is just like, ooh, I need to pull back, so we're at a point where we need to pull back, and we need to really reassess a few things and really use our intuition. So let's do one more card here, see if I get anything. Now, me personally, I have associations to each of these cards because I do cards a lot, obviously, more than just once a week. I do them, quite often. There are times I only do them once a week, but even so, after years of constantly doing them, I recognize these 2 cards as almost connected to people. And those 2 people that come up in that association are very strong-willed people. These cards represent very strong people that have gone through a fuckload of shit. To be honest, this is not appropriate for kids. So it is a fuckload of shit that these people have gone through. So that sort of has to come through as well. Things out of their control. Things that are well beyond their control, and what they've done in response to these things is just keep moving on, is just keep trucking on, the person who I think of, the Ten of Swords, oh my gosh, she's this beautiful soul who has just been crushed time and time and time again, and she just keeps going. She's she just about keep going on. And the person with the Two of Swords, same sort of thing. It's like, wow, you have been through some horrible things and scarred them for life, but wow, you just keep going. You just keep going. Oh, and we're back to, this is our other card, is the Seven of Cups. There's a lot of things that we can choose right now. There's a lot of things that we can choose, so many different directions that are open to us. Ooh, I'm getting a roadmap. So when I sit with people, sometimes I get a map in front of me, or at least specific lines, and the Seven of Cups always sort of brings that up. It gives you lots of different routes to go. And our communities right now are sort of trying to balance so many different options. We could go back into lockdown. We could have this problem. We could have these problems. We could do this to alleviate this. We have so many options and we have so many things going on. And it comes back to the Two of Swords, where we are just in that space of holding until things become a little bit clearer. There's still a lot of dust to settle. There's still a lot of things to wait and to see what happens next. Strangely enough, over the last year, there's been not a lot of information coming from me personally, like in future aspects. I used to be able to sort of pinpoint, what's going to happen in a few months. It was a pretty steady pace of situations, of things that would happen that would say, I can totally see this happening. It would come as like a specific end point or goal, and now it's all over the place. So we're in that holding pattern before a clear path can come up. So with the Seven of Cups, we can choose what we want, but there are a lot of things that maybe we shouldn't choose. And there's a lot of things that if we do choose it that seem good at the moment, might not be great down the road. Now, we're waiting. This is the perfect waiting card as well. We're waiting to feel, we're waiting for things to click. So the Hanged Man is the perfect example of this. The Hanged Man has put himself into this situation of hanging upside down. He's basically been asked to hang from this tree, to wait for enlightenment, to wait for the answers, to wait and understand where that place is that they need to be. So we're still in that holding pattern. We're still waiting for answers. And there's really not much we can do other than just be holding space for ourselves and for one another. It's not looking great, but it's not looking dire, because there's always something, even, like I said with the Death card, there's always a sense of rebirth at the end of it. Some of the worst cards that come up, there is a sense of starting over, of giving yourself in, to surrender yourself to what's happening in the world. And then through that, we find a bit of peace with it. We find a bit of peace of what's going on, the elevation of the tension. Just, it sort of fluctuates. It goes up a bit and then it comes back down. There's always this flux happening. So the less we can let things bombard our brains our thinking brains and our thinking minds and our energy systems, our personal energies, the less we're affected by it. So it's about holding that space for ourselves, sitting, clearing our minds, opening the windows, letting things move on their own, moving freely, and then picking up the pieces as we sort of move along. There's a lot of parts that we're not seeing at the moment. There's a lot of parts that we're not seeing. And so a lot of us, I know a few people specifically that have really taken those steps back to when they found their spiritual selves, the things that triggered their spiritual either awakening or movement, or the first steps into a new journey, spiritually speaking. My first understandings and the things that pulled me into the spiritual path that I'm in now is my dreams, and I've been going back into some of those dream states and really focusing on some of the things happening there, and seeing things happen in my dreams and seeing things happen in real life. So whatever that path is for you, whether it be dreams or whether it be magical practices or meditation or yoga or martial arts, where you're able to just be in a different state of mind, focus on that. So these are the words coming through. I'm just going to talk as I do. She is coming back to her real self. She is coming back into alignment with who she was the first time around. Her body grows and depletes, and it grows again, and it loses part of it, and then it grows back. The field in which you have arrived in is only yours, to be yours and yours alone. You can walk this path through the yellow flowers, through the fields of your imagination, of a different plane, of a different world. That is for you and you alone. The mountainsides that you see in the distance, those are the paths that we carve to get to the top of the mountain. And when we get to the top of the mountain, when we reach a point that we can find ourselves at a place of peace, a place that we think could be heaven, we realize that there is still more of a mountain to climb. We see this in the distance and we find it daunting. We can find that path, that climb, absolutely daunting. But if we want to get to that point where we can feel at peace with ourselves, with our humanity, with our boundaries, with our bodies, with each other, every single one of us needs to take that path. Is it enlightenment? Is it ascension? We can give it all of those words, but it is just about feeling peace and love within ourselves and those around us, those that may not have words, those that are living beings that are not human, whether they be plant, animal, mineral, magical, fantasy. All of those beings are part of our world, and we are just one tiny speck of that world. The path that we choose up that mountain varies from person to person, but the purpose is the same. It is to feel peace, and it is to find heaven, and to feel love, and to give love. as love is something that is not taken or not given. It is just there. It is part of us. We need strength to get up that mountain. We need strength to get over the hills. We need strength to just walk the field in front of us. Do it slowly, do it purposefully. Do it with kindness in mind, and we will forgive. We will forgive ourselves. We will forgive those who have wronged us. We will forgive a past that we had no control over. It is about forgiveness right now. It is about us as a human species forgiving, not forgetting, forgiving. That first step past forgiving is the step on the path. It is that first step. It is that strength to come to terms with what will be when we have forgiven what has been. No one person is right, no one person is wrong, but for everybody to be on that same page, to know that you have wronged me and I forgive you. I have wronged you and I forgive myself. We grow when we start to understand each other in that aspect. Whether or not the planet can forgive us is another question. We're at a stalemate. We are at the Two of Swords. We are totally at the Two of Swords, where we are stuck at this moment, where the decisions that come through, it isn't about what has happened. It isn't about the things that have happened in the past. From this point forward, we move on and we forgive. So this week, it is forgive, to be forgiven for those that we have fucked over, for those that we have been fucked over by. It's hard to do. It's absolutely hard to do, to want to do that. You know, I look back into my own personal history and I don't know if I can forgive some of those people. But for me to forgive them would be for them to forgive their families, their ancestors, the people that they learned these toxic traits from. So when we start to do the work here, I completely believe that, you know, our ancestors feel that, our future feels that, to be able to forgive and just say, look, what's happened. I am not a good person. You're not a good person. We can all sort of resonate with that we have, none of us are angels. And if we were angels, there would be something in our history that we have pissed someone off that we don't know about. So it is about starting from square one. Beyond forgiveness, we feel the sense that things can move on after that. We can move on. We can start to see the right paths. when we start to forgive, we can move on. We'd have the knowledge and the love. Hi, Janice. And we can move on. We won't be as stuck. We'll have that brain power, that brain, that mind. The overthinking brain is not a nice thing to have to work through. So think about what you can forgive. The people that need forgiving. The grudges that we've held the whole time. I can think of probably about 10 people personally that I could forgive. I know that there are things that I've done that I need to forgive myself for. So let's forgive this week. Let's look at that. And I know, this is where the hard work comes in, right? This is where the hardcore stuff comes in, and we kind of feel that, where it's like, oh, that's uncomfortable. I don't like the uncomfortable. None of us like the uncomfortable stuff. But it has to happen, This is the dust gathering in the corners. These are the things that, constantly come up in our brains that we overthink. And, I could have done things differently. It's time to forgive ourselves for the experiences that we have shared. Blech. Blech. It's the hard work. Are you guys ready for the hard work? No. Definitely not. Anyway, right. So with that positive note, it's hard, but it's doable. It is doable. It is hard. It is hard. But that's part of I watch the boys grow, physically grow, and how sore their bodies are. And it's hard work. And I think of that on a mental level, on a spiritual level, as we start to grow and we have those growing pains, and it's oh my God, we have to do this. We really don't have a choice. It's hard, but we do it. If we don't do it, then we're stuck. Then we're completely stuck. We stay at that 2 of Swords stalemate if we're not willing to budge. It's hard, but it's doable, Mom. Right. Well, I hope everyone has a good week. I hope everyone has a great week this week. I hope things start to change for people. I hope things start to move and start to float and start to aerate through their minds and their souls, and just clearing out. We got to get rid of the old shit to get the new, let's get rid of the old ideas to get the new ideas. It's a cycle. So we're on the never-ending hamster wheel of life. Yay, eternity. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good week. I will see you next time. Hopefully I'll be on time next week. I don't think I have any dog sitting duties next week. So, I'll see you guys later. Mom, love you. Janice, thanks for coming. And I will see you all next time. Love you.